you very much, ma'am, um, for this opportunity. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So, first of all, I'm very much thankful to you to provide me this opportunity to interact with your viewers. So, I'm here representing Dragon Flora Farms LLP. It's a one-stop solution provider for dragon fruit farming. So today's topic is value addition in dragon fruit. This dragon fruit is a buzzword which we all are hearing since last 4 5 years, and it has caught everybody's attention. Uh, so in 2019, we have started a company which is exclusively dedicated to only dragon fruit. So this is basically most of the commercial dragon fruits, they belong to the Hylocereus species. So firstly, before telling anything about it, because seeing is believing, or people tend to recognize something when they really see it. So this is how this wonderful superfood looks like. This has got some people find it very mysterious, some people find it very interesting, some even find it a sort of a very complex thing. So this is how this beautiful fruit looked like. So basically it is a climbing cactus, and it is widely known as pitaya also, and we call it dragon fruit. In India we call it kamalam also. Some of the state governments, they have renamed it, and in recent years it has become popular among Indian grower also. And almost every year the area under its cultivation is not only doubling, but it is growing 10x 100x speed. So now almost all states in India, from north to south, east to west, except where there is frost and all those things like J&K and Himachal, Uttarakhand, uh, just leave those states, and in other rest of the India, people are growing it on smaller large scale. So today's topic is exclusively restricted to value addition. So why value addition plays, like why the value addition is really required. So the major reason for value addition is that all these horticulture commodities, especially the fruits, they have a lot of water content, and they cannot remain fresh or usable for a long time until unless they are preserved or converted to some other form. So the loss due to improper post harvest operations, nowadays it is good that due to some or the other efforts it has been reduced, but it was almost like 50 to 60% of the horticulture produce get wasted due to improper post harvesting operations. Nowadays it has been reduced. In some crops it is like 30 35%, but in some cases it is still very high. So that is why value addition is required. Like whatever fresh we can consume, we consume, and we should have some kind of process or some kind of arrangements where we can save the produce. So all those activities, they are covered under. That is why this value addition is required. So in India, currently 4,000 functional processing industries are there, but only 1 to 2% of the produce is being processed and packed. In contrast, in the developed and developing countries, 70 to 80% of their produce is being processed and then sold. So we are far behind in case of the processing sector. Although we have achieved and surpassed many countries in fruits and vegetable production, also we are among top first or second in most of the crops, but still we are far behind in the processing industry sector. So what does value addition really means? Any act which increases the value of the original product, we call it a value addition. It can be in any form. Let it be simply just washing, grading, everything comes under this thing. It basically, it starts with the pre-cooling, because there is a lot of field heat in the produce when we harvest it from the farm. So first step is pre-cooling. Even if you just simply take your produce and just wash it in cold water and then just pack it, that is also value addition. Then washing, cleaning, trimming, sorting, grading, sizing. Sizing means packing the produce according to different grades, different size. Like curing we do in vegetables basically, waxing we do in apples and the citrus fruits. Then different kind of packagings, and then storage, whether it's a ground storage or modified atmosphere storage or controlled atmosphere storage. And then convert, these are also all value addition, apart from the general thing which a common man thinks that when we really convert the form of the produce, that is value addition. So that is also value addition, but even these activities, they are also value addition. So like the conventional things are converting them into jam, juice, jelly, pickles. So all these things are possible with the dragon fruit also. And if we just want to see what are the advantages of fruit processing, this is a very beautiful infographic chart I got from internet. So here we can see in a nutshell, in just one slide is explaining everything about the advantages of food processing. Firstly, it increases the availability. The produce is available across the market, across our shelves for a longer period. Then alternating the antioxidant levels, we can fortify the juices and other things with vitamin C and other kind of antioxidants so that the shelf life is increased. Then making it convenient to use. Some people might not find uh, to directly consume some of things in raw, so they might like to convert it. They might find it more useful when it is converted into some kind of easily handable produce. And then tailoring to the specific needs. For example, some people, they are allergen to gluten or some other contents, so we can remove such kind of allergy causing allergens from the produce if required. Then of course the processing ensures the food safety. It increases the diversity. Changing the flavor and the texture is possible. Then it also allows us fortification and enrichment. And then also decreasing the price, because you don't have to throw away your produce in the glut price. You can systematically utilize it throughout the year. So it is supplied at an affordable cost. And then preserving nutritional qualities. And then, of course, the biggest thing is reducing the food waste. Um, Benefits of small scale value addition in fruit and vegetable in developing countries. See, value addition doesn't mean that we should have big factory setups and only big processing units. In a country like India, where small and marginal farmers are more, even if the small scale value addition things are set up on the farm, they also add to um, our GDP, and they also increase our the farmers' profit margins. So the benefit of small scale value addition is that raw material is readily available, often in surplus in the main growing season. Then most of the technologies are available, accessible, affordable on the scale that is suitable for small operations. Then equipments can often be manufactured locally. The product, if chosen correctly, have widespread demand. For example, jams and juices, they already have a big market. The produce, if and also compared to some other technologies like small scale fruits and vegetable processing, is particularly suitable for women. Like most of the fruits and vegetable processing units, they are being run by SHGs. We can also do, because the collection of the local produce, then grading, sorting, sun drying, all these things are usually done on the small village scale level. Then most processes have low environment impact also. So now we come specifically to the dragon fruit. So these are the four basic type of dragon fruits available commercially in the market. red skin and white flesh, then red skin and red flesh, red skin and purple flesh, then yellow skin and white flesh. This yellow skin, white flesh is also known as pellora. This is the sweetest form of dragon fruit, which fetches a very premium price. But then again, depends on country to country where is the demand for which kind of fruit. So these are some of the glimpses from we visited Vietnam, one of their these things, and then these are some of the products which our company is manufacturing. We have an RTS, just like fruity is made from mango. We have an RTS of dragon fruit. We also make dried chips and powder out of it. Then factors which affect the post-harvest life of the fruit. Major factors are maturity indices. Until unless the fruit is harvested at a completely mature stage, the final value added product made out of it wouldn't be of the desired quality. Then ways of harvesting, how whether it is mechanically harvested, there the damage will be more, or manually, or how it is harvested. Then when the field is removed, best is as soon as it is picked from the plant, the field it should be removed immediately at the field itself. But sometimes it is practically not possible, so people will transport it to the factory or some shed and then they will remove. All these things will affect the post harvest life of the fruit. Then washing, we should wash them in cold water, and then at what temperature we are storing it. In case of dragon fruit, the maturity indices is that because it is a known climatic fruit, so we should harvest it when it is fully ripe. At least 90% of the skin color is developed. Only then we have to pick it. Scientifically speaking, when in 40 is to 1 ratio of soluble solids and titrable acid, then we can harvest it. But at farm level, it is not possible to judge all these things. So just 90% of the skin color is red, we can harvest it. While we are harvesting, we shouldn't damage the fruit. We should use sharp knife or secateurs for cutting it. So that is the proper way how we should cut it. And then we have to grade according to the market. In India, usually the fruit size of more than 350 grams is preferred by the stores, and any fruit size below that, that will come to B and then C grade. So value added products, multiple value added products can be made out of dragon also. So the storage temperature, usually because it cannot tolerate less than 6 to 7 degree temperature. So ideally dragon fruit is usually stored at 7 to 10 degrees centigrade. Some of the varieties they can tolerate up to 5 to 6 degree, but not below that. It doesn't require a chilling temperature. So 90% relative humidity and 10 degree of the temperature is recommended. Different possibilities with dragon fruit are it can be easily converted into juice, jam, RTS, beverages, nectar, squash, wines. Both red wine and white wine are being manufactured commercially out of it. And coloring agents can be extracted. The flower buds, they can be converted into soups, mixed in salads. They are being adopted by five-star chef and all those where it is accessible. Then peel dried to extract pectin and antioxidants. Then we can make ice cream, sherbet, yogurt, candy, ketchup. Then bakery items are easily possible out of it. So the basic thing which one can start with is minimal processing. Simply the fresh salad. You might have seen many restaurants and there the minimal processed fruit salads are becoming an important component of the diet and the items which are quickly sold. Then a lot of bakery items can be made out of this dragon fruit because the especially the red flesh, it gives beautiful pink and different shades of red to different items. So one bakery in Vietnam became very famous during the COVID, and they were unable to sell the fresh fruit. This bakery, it is called as ABC Bakery in Vietnam. They made beautiful baking items out of it. Similarly, because this has got lots and lots of health benefits, it's full of vitamins, nutraceuticals, so it can be converted into soaps and other cosmetic products also. Then we can make different kind of juices, fruit punch, ice cream. Of course, dragon fruit wine is a commercial product which is already being manufactured in Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand. Then dragon fruit powder is also being sold, which can be directly used with milk or mixed in juices and other things. Also, similarly, dragon fruit jam, pure dragon fruit jam, or it can be mixed with mixed fruit jam also. So these are other commercial products available. Even people are extracting, you can see the tiny seeds inside it. They are edible, and oil is extracted from these tiny seeds, and that is used in high end cosmetics like making lip balms and lipsticks and such kind of anti-aging creams that is being used. So we'll just take up some of the very common products which can be made, like this pitaya jam. So the flow chart is very simple. Like we have to take the fully ripe fruits, we have to wash them properly, do the peeling, pulping. We have to add 1:1 sugar and bring it to a boil. And then we have to add citric acid. We have to standardize because uh, based on from where you procured the fruit and which variety it is, you may have to slightly adjust the citric acid and other proportion, but usually 0.6% should be enough. Then the judging endpoint, we have to uh, judge by up to 105 degrees. We'll cook it, and then a sheet test. Sheet test means once the consistency is such that you take it in a ladle, and when you spread it over a, you try to put in some other container, it will come like sheets. And then finally, when the end point is achieved, the consistency, the texture which we want, then we can fill it and store it. Similarly, dragon fruit jelly, that is firm ripe fruits, we have to select. Then washing, peeling. Then we'll extract the pulp and then strain because jelly is made from the clear extract. Then we'll add the sugar and the pectin solution. We'll adjust the TSS to 55-degree Brix by using a refractometer. And then we'll add the citric acid. And after adding the citric acid, the TSS has to be uh, adjusted to 58-degree. And then the judging endpoint is 68 to 7, means we have to keep on boiling it. So as the water will reduce, the sugar content, the TSS will keep on increasing. So at 68 to 70%, we will stop it there. That is the judging endpoint. And finally, we fill them into sterilized bottles, and then capping and storage is done. Similarly, this ready to serve drink from dragon fruit will take the firm ripe fruits, then washing and peeling, then pulp, then we'll strain the syrup solution, then we'll add citric acid, then heat at 85-degree for 3 minutes, then centrifuge at 7,000 RPM for 10 minutes. And whatever that siphon is there, we will separate it, and then the clear RTS is filled hot in the sterilized bottles. Then it will be pasteurized at 90 degrees centigrade for 10 minutes, and then we'll quickly bring them down for cooling and storing. Also, a dragon fruit as a natural color extract. So there are many research papers. One of them is published from Malaysia. They have tried to extract this natural color out of the dragon fruit, and it is already there in the market. Then dragon fruit spread, it can be made. There is one research paper where they have found that the TSS approximately 40% they will adjust, and this fruit spread is having 4 weeks of life. Then solar drying, we can slice it into thin slices and sun dry it. And they can pack it in airtight bags, and they can be sold. And this can be sold directly as chips, or it can be again converted into powder and again sold. Like that, we can beautifully pack them in easy to carry bags where the different kind of covering sheets are used which have life enhancing properties. Then different kind of this fruit teas are also being made out of it. And this is one slide in which we can just see all the everything which we have discussed till now in a nutshell. Here we can see that the fresh fruit, the pulp is extracted, that can be converted into juice, juice powder, jam, jelly, wine, fresh, minimal processing, what we discussed. Then the seeds, they are again, the seed oil is extracted and used in the cosmetic industry. And then the peel is also valuable because 36 to 40% of the thing is peel. So from the peel also peel powder is made. It will go to animal feed and other things. Then color is extracted from the peel as well. And then it is a rich source of the pectin, industrial pectin. So likewise, nothing goes waste in this fruit. Every part, everything as part of processing is utilized in the one way or the other. Similarly, we can make beautiful jellies out of it. So it contains 0.1 to 1.04% pectin. So jam and jelly are usually they will require an addition. Artificially, we have to add some more pectin, and then we can easily convert it into jelly also. So here we found one paper where the for 1 liter of the fruit juice, half kg of the sugar and 11 grams of pectin. They were the best recipe found, and it could be easily stored for up to 3 months. This we've already discussed how we can make jelly out of it. Then this peel flour, there is Ho and Latif. They prepared this peel flour, and they will add up to 15% in wheat flour as cookies because it has got a lot of dietary fiber. It's a rich source of dietary fiber. So, and also it will go into the animal feed. And then there is an ultrasonic assisted extraction process. So we can extract these colors and other things out of different nutraceuticals. They can be also extracted out of the dragon fruit and the peel. So the possibilities of value addition in dragon fruit are immense, and thus a lot of entrepreneurial scope is there. In India, already freeze dried chips and then this dragon fruit nectar, this ready to serve drink, jam, all these things are already being developed and they are being marketed. So I thank you for this opportunity. It was nice being here on this platform. So we can now discuss if we have any questions related to this presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sunil Kumari, for the presentation. I'll now quickly take up some questions. So the first question is, what are the most cost-effective value-added products that can be made from dragon fruit on a small scale?
The best thing is sun dry. Simply, whatever the excess fruit is there, simply cut them into thin slices and sun dry them. Those, and it can be easily done on the farm itself. And those who can afford, they can again go for a solar dryer. And if the process increases, then they can go for an electric dryer. So this is the something which is very tasty, and it can be easily done with a minimal cost if at the farm level.
Okay. And can you explain the step-by-step process of making a dragon fruit powder or juice?
Yeah. See, dragon fruit powder, simply the fully, we've already covered in this presentation. So, we'll take the mature, nice fruits because the pulp to flesh ratio is like 30-40% goes waste. So, usually, when you are setting up of a processing industry, prefer big size fruits. At least they should be more than 400-500 grams so that the wastage is lesser and you get more flesh. And then we have to depending on whether it is going to be sun dried or whether it is going to be electrical dryer or a solar dryer, the thickness of the slice can be adjusted. Usually 2 to 3 mm of the slices we have to make, and spread it over, if possible, over a steel mesh, or otherwise on some clean food grade plastic sheet. They have to keep it, and once the thing is completely dried, then they can use a pulverizer and convert it into a powder. On an industrial scale, they will use the electric ovens or the solar powered hot air ovens. And once the product comes to a consistent dryness, then it will be converted into the powder using pulverizer. So this is how we can make dragon fruit powder.
Okay. And are there any specific varieties of dragon fruit that are better suited for processing and value addition?
Yes, this is a very important question. And as I told you, because the wastage, the peel percentage in the dragon fruit is very high. Like it can go up to, in some of the varieties, it will go up to 40% also. It means almost 50% of the fruit is getting wasted. So until unless the size of the fruit is 400 or 500 gram plus, the processing will be wastage. It will be in loss. So at Dragon Flora Farms, we have identified two varieties. Both of the varieties, they are big size fruits only. But when we are going for the processing, one of our selection, DF selection one, that is a thin peel, because our aim is processing. So thin peel is not a problem, and if in fact it is an added advantage, because it will reduce the waste percentage, but it will not have a longer shelf life. So if we are growing the, just like how we do in the grapes, for the wine production, they will have the grape orchard, in-house grape orchard. Immediately they will take the mature fruits and crush them. Similarly, those who want to grow this for processing, they should go for a thin peel and bigger size varieties like Dragon Flora Selection one kind of varieties. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of basic equipment is needed for starting a small-scale dragon fruit processing unit?
It depends on the what products you are choosing. So if you are going just for dried chips or snacks sort of thing, then barely you need some clean area. You can start with the sun dried products, or you can upgrade to a solar dryer. If you are going for the juice, then you need a juicer, any pulper, and any multi-purpose machine will also solve the purpose. So we have to simply clean and peel all those fruits, and its seeds are also edible. So it will depend on the final product. Like for example, if your purpose is only making the pulp or the whole fruit juice, then you don't need any straining things to separate the seeds and other things. Even if you are going for this jam production, you don't need any strainer, because people like the seeds inside it. But if you're going for some crystal clear sparkling drinks or something, then you need something to separate that also. So you will need a strainer, you will need a pulper, you will need a juicer, and then you will need a mixture. So in market, sometimes all in one machines are coming. So simply one multi-purpose machine will solve all your purpose. On a small scale, just these two three items are enough to start a small juice factory, or to start the sun dried snacks thing.
Okay. And how do we ensure food safety and compliance with the FSSAI regulations in value-added products?
Yeah, this is very important to maintain, because even if somebody is starting small, they have a aim of gradually increasing to a bigger scale. So if they start with the habit of maintaining the hygiene and other cleanliness, that becomes a integrated culture. So any machinery and any utensils, even the knife which we use for the processing, they all should be of food grade stainless steel only. Never go with the iron or any other kind of or aluminum or all those things. So even if you go for a FSI license, and if those machines are not of SS quality, your application might be rejected on inspection. So firstly, that is very important. Then the quality of the water which we are using, the area should be kept very clean. It should be no flies, dirt, or all those things. So cleaning is a very important process. Then the quality of the water which we are using for the food processing, it should be potable, human consumable water, or if the water quality is poor, then one should go for the RO installation and only then utilize that good quality water in the processing. So like that, these are the basic food safety requirements: the quality of the water, uh, the metal from which your utensils or machinery is made, and the general cleanliness, neatness we should take care.
Okay. And what are the best packaging options for value-added dragon fruit products to increase shelf life and appeal?
It will again depend on the type of product. For example, if somebody is manufacturing jam, so for jam already we know that storing it in a glass jar is the most recommended thing. But then now people want to go for cost cutting and all, so now they have started selling in pouches. You can use food grade plastics. So for a small startup, food grade plastic is the best because it is cheap and best. But as if you have some premium customers or you want some highly value added where you are getting very good price, then you should opt for the glass packing.
Okay. And how can farmers brand their products effectively to stand out in local or organic markets?
Branding is entirely a personal experience. They should select a brand name in such a way, then they have to advertise, and then they have to invest something in the banners and other marketing things. Then they can participate in the local events so that they represent their farm, and then they should try to publicize their farm in the local area, so that invite people to come to the farm so that they can have a first hand feeling, and then they will buy the product produced from there itself in the retail. So we provide mentoring and hand holding for all these processing trainings and then branding and all those things. So somebody can use all these general things, and if somebody is very serious or want to upgrade and all, then they can also contact us. We provide training because this Dragon Flora is a one-stop solution for everything. So we provide customized trainings according to the customer needs, so that we can also help them in creating their brands and how they can operate digitally or offline, how they can make their kiosk and other things. So we can help them with it. Otherwise, they have to make increase their social media presence. Nowadays, people are doing a lot of business on Instagram and Facebook, and those are quite popular. It depends on your location. Where is your farm actually located?
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there natural preservatives that can be used in dragon fruit products without compromising health value?
Yeah, very important thing, ma'am. See, if you are going for jam and other things, just a minute. If we are going for jelly, jam, and all those things, sugar is a natural preservant. If you utilize the appropriate amount of sugar, that itself acts like a preservative. Then citric acid we have to utilize. So all these are food grade things which are approved by FSI. So usually we maintain the proper ratio of the titrable acidity, the sugar content, and the pectin content. All these things, if they are properly maintained, the food will not spoil. So, and these are safe things. And if other things like color preservatives, sodium benzoate and all these things, they are also safe. They are food grade things. They have been approved since ages. So if somebody wants, but now if you want to make some unique this thing, because nowadays the customer is more health conscious, so they don't if you label your produce as chemical free, naturally preserved. So naturally preserved means it is preserved with sugar. So if you don't utilize those sodium benzoate and all those sulfur and other things, that is, so it will fetch a premium. Only problem is that the life will reduce. So you can easily label use fresh or use within 2 months, use within 3 months. So like that, we have to develop the product at our place and check for the shelf life at the room temperature. When then we have to standardize, or you can take the help of any food technologist, and we have to develop our recipes accordingly. So the natural preservative is sugar and the natural citric acid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which value-added dragon fruit products are currently in high demand in India and abroad?
Yeah, these freshly packed dragon fruit, freeze dried chips and the dragon fruit pulp, because now very big companies are also coming into the juice and all those things. So they are never going to grow dragon and have their own, so they depend on others. So simply just converting it into pulp, preserving it nicely with the standardized recipe, that is the demand will be increasing in other this thing. Commercially products, freeze dried chips and the jam, those are very popular. And now this dragon fruit jam, smoothie don't have a longer shelf life. It is an instant product. But then dragon fruit juice and packed juices, they are also now many big companies are also slowly coming into it.
Okay. And what are the export opportunities for processing dragon fruit products, and how
Yes.
can farmers tap into them?
Yeah, see, export potential is also very huge. But a simple thing is that one has to make a wise decision. One, whether we really need to export it or not. If we are getting the same price or a good price in Indian market, firstly we should cater to it and capture it. Because once you go for the export, of course, the direct answer to this question is yes, there is immense potential, because there are only few limited countries which can grow dragon fruit. And now after COVID, due to owing to the health benefits, every country needs dragon fruit, but it can be grown only in few countries like India and the neighboring countries. So of course we have a lot of export opportunities, but then we have to see where is the line, like what is the cost of exporting, what are their demands. If they are demanding such kind of certificates and other kind of things which will require a huge investment, and the Indian farmer is not able to do that, then he should not aim for the export at this moment actually. Because here in India itself, the retail price is as high as 400 to 500 rupees a kg. It's a very great price, no? So firstly we should try to make a presence in the Indian market, and then we have to club up, we have to pool and join hands. Because when you talk about an export consignment, there the quantity required is very huge. One or two small farmers cannot meet that, because dragon fruit comes in cycles. Like for example, if 1 acre of dragon is producing 20-25 tons also, that 25 ton is not going to come at one, just like mango or other kind of fruits. No, it is not like that. It is well distributed. So, and there is also no, you cannot tell a specific date that on that particular date I will have this much. And any export house will require continuous demand. So we need a middle system where all the fruit will be pooled, it will be supplied regularly. So making the groups, joining hands and becoming a member of some group, or forming some garden clubs, and all those things are very necessary to fully exploit the export potentials. Yeah.
Okay. And can you share some successful case studies from Dragon Flora Farms LLP related to product innovation and marketing?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we in 2019, when we formed this company, we were selected for the Raftar program, and we were incubated at Government of India's Raftar program, which is an agri incubation program where they provide you up to 25 lakh rupees of grant. So we were incubated for this value addition in dragon fruit, and we have developed RTS, India's first ready to serve drink. We standardized, then we have standardized the dragon fruit jam recipe also. We are making the powder out of it. And then we have in house, we have standardized many of the these are kind of, my aim was basically to provide kind of fruit powder sachets which are kind of medicine, but they are very tasty medicines. For example, for diabetes, I have mixed dragon fruit along with other fruit which will help curing the diabetes. So for that technology, this freeze drying technology is quite costly. So we have just in-house standardized it using the small scale machines, but we haven't set up it commercially yet. So we are looking for partnership or investment for that. But already we have the technology for these fruit powder water mixable drinks. And so these are the things which we already have. And even we have made this dragon fruit chutney, because it is something like Szechuan sauce, that is the chili percentage is more, but we did the mass scale uh, this thing testing with the school kids. So we have designed the recipe in a way where school kids really like it. So that is the proportion of the spices, salt and sugar is maintained in a way it can act like a spread, you can say. It is a kind of fruit.
Hello. Hello.